Have you ever felt like you're just herding cats on a project? Constantly putting out fires, dealing with one delay after another, and just watching that beautiful schedule completely fall apart? Yeah, you're not alone. Project management can be a chaotic mess. But what if there was a way to tame that chaos? Today, we're going to dig into a system designed to do just that, to turn those unpredictable projects into models of real reliability.
So, to get us started, I want you to picture a typical project. Construction, design, whatever. Lots of moving parts, tons of people involved. Now, take a guess. Out of all the things you plan to get done in 1 week, what percentage of that work actually gets completed as planned on time?
54%. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. On an average project, almost half of everything we plan to do in a week just doesn't get done. And this isn't some random number I pulled out of a hat. This is the statistic that kicked off a revolution in project management.
This is what's known as the 54% problem. And like I said, it isn't just an anecdote. It's the result of some serious research by Greg Howell and Glenn Ballard, the guys who created the Last Planner system. They just wanted to figure out one thing: why are projects so fundamentally unpredictable?
They started by asking this very simple, very direct question. They studied 75 different weekly work plans and found that even foremen with, on average, 15 years of experience were only hitting that 54% mark. They realized the problem wasn't the people, it was the entire system of planning itself. And that's what drove them to create a whole new one.
So, how did they even begin to tackle a problem this huge? Well, they turned to the world of lean manufacturing. The core idea behind lean is all about creating a smooth, predictable workflow by systematically and relentlessly getting rid of waste. But what does waste even look like on a project?
In lean thinking, there are 8 classic types of waste. You can remember them with the handy acronym downtime. Now, these are the hidden inefficiencies that just suck the time, the money, and the morale right out of our projects. Let's zoom in on a few that are especially damaging.
First up, we've got waiting. And this one is the silent killer of productivity. Anytime you spend waiting for a decision from leadership, or for a late delivery of materials, or for another crew to finish their work, that's pure, unproductive waste that just grinds a project to a halt.
Then there are defects. This one's the most obvious form of waste, right? Anytime you have to do something over, rework, you are paying for the people, the materials, and the time at least twice to get something done that should have been done right the first time. It is a direct hit to the budget and the schedule. But honestly, maybe the most tragic and overlooked waste is non-utilized human talent. This is what happens when a rigid, top-down plan treats the experts, the people actually doing the work, as just a pair of hands, as doers instead of thinkers. You completely squander all their frontline experience and knowledge, and that's a massive, massive waste of potential.
Okay, so how do we fight all this waste and finally solve that 54% problem? Well, this is where the Last Planner system, or LPS, comes in. Let's break down what it actually is and how it completely flips traditional planning on its head. At its core, the Last Planner system is a production planning system that creates a predictable workflow through, and these are the key words, collaborative conversations and reliable commitments. It's a fundamental psychological shift away from that old command and control approach to a commitment and collaboration model. It's about planning with the team, not just for the team.
So you might be asking, who exactly is the Last Planner? Is it the project manager? Nope. The Last Planners are the people on the front lines. They're the foremen, the lead engineers, the people who know the work inside and out. They are the only ones who can make a truly reliable promise about what can be done and when it can be done.
Okay, so the heart of the Last Planner system, the engine that makes it all run, is a series of 5 connected conversations. This structure is what turns planning from a static document that just sits on a shelf into a living, breathing, dynamic process. Let's take a look at how it works.
The entire process flows really logically from what should happen to what did happen. First, you have milestone planning, where the whole team works backward from key dates to figure out what should be done. Next up is look-ahead planning. This is all about making work ready and figuring out what can be done soon. This flows right into the weekly work plan. And this is where those Last Planners make firm commitments about what will be done. And finally, and this is so critical, is learning. You review what you did, you measure your reliability, and you dig into why things were missed so you can get better next time.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, you get a fundamental shift in how planning is done. And I'm not talking about a small improvement here. We're talking about a complete reimagining of the entire process.
I mean, just look at the difference. It's stark. Conventional planning is top-down. It's done in silos by just a few people, and it almost always leads to confusion and misalignment. But the last planner system, it's collaborative, it's bottom-up, and it taps into the collective wisdom of the entire team. This creates a shared understanding, it fosters real buy-in, and ultimately, that's what drives reliability.
So what's the payoff? What kind of real-world impact are we talking about here? Well, how about a potential improvement of 200 to 300%?
Yeah, that's the kind of measurable improvement in project predictability you can see when you move away from that chaotic 54% system to one that is built on collaborative planning and reliable promises. It's the difference between just hoping for the best and actually systematically planning for success.
And that really brings us to the final question. By tapping into all that non-utilized human talent and truly empowering the experts on the front line, what could your team achieve if the people who are actually doing the work were also the people planning the work?